Hey guys, welcome back to StayTrue TV. This video, we've got one of my old toys here. So it's an 1100 two-stroke jet ski Yamaha. We're going to rip the motor out, do a rebuild. So it was running sweet as when it was running. Then all of a sudden it started having some issues. Parked up. It's been parked up for years now, probably about 4 to 5 years. We're going to rip her out and get her sorted out. Hopefully get it back on the water. See how we go. Alright, so just over a quick look over. Obviously it's been sitting for many years, so we've got a few little things that have broken up. Just got a bit old and tatty when I first got it. Did a little bit of a repair there. Again, we've got another one there. Overall, it's not too bad at all. I did install this fuel primer here, remove the choke and put a fuel primer in here. I dare say that'll probably be knackered. Overall, it's not held up too badly. It's got a little bit of sun fade, but once we get the motor sorted, we might be able to take care of that with a bit of cut and polish, get this thing shining again, bring it back to its prime. So I've got a battery that's the same size as this takes. I'm not sure how good it is or not, but I'm going to go chuck it on charge. We'll come back and see if this thing still kicks over or not. I'll say it's been a long time, and when it started going, I just couldn't get the problem right. There's like something in the mixture or something with one of the chambers was wrong. Every now and then it would go really well, and then all of a sudden it would just stop and start stuttering and just go like rubbish. So it's been something I've been had in the works for ages to do. Now we're going to do it. These guys can follow along as we go. Alright, so as you can see, we've got a battery. So we'll charge that up and see how it goes. I'll say I'm not even sure how old it is, just know it's there. I don't think it got used all that much, so we'll see if it charges up. If it doesn't, we'll have to get a new battery on the way. We also have a gasket kit for the ski, already bought that ages ago, but it's all there ready to go. So let's go chuck this battery on charge, come back, we'll see if it kicks over. Alright guys, so we've just gone ahead and chucked the battery back in the ski. I've just given it a quick click over and it seems to be kicking. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the plugs out of the motor, chuck a compression tester in it and just do a compression check before we go and pull it apart. We don't want to start it up because we're pulling it apart anyway, but I just wanted to make sure that it was still kicking over and everything else and it hadn't seized up, because obviously when you park them up, you put like a defogging fluid through them to make sure that they stay lubricated and stuff, but like I say, it has been sitting for years. Wasn't 100% sure if it was going to be still turning or not, so pretty sweet, she's still turning over. Do this compression check, then we'll start getting things out. Alright, middle cylinder's not holding pressure, so we've got a bit of an issue there. Maybe reeds or rings. So So we'll be checking into that. So what we do is we go ahead, we've just done a dry run on that cylinder. So we've just gone and put a bit of oil in it. So if it is the rings, it should seal that area up and give it a bit more of a seal. And we'll try it again and see if we've got any more compression now. Alright, so we've just gone ahead and done the compression test. The first cylinder's not too bad, but the last two, neither of them are holding pressure nor putting out much at all. So it could just be sticky reeds, could be just a sticky ring, or we could have some serious damage inside them. So what we're going to do is start pulling things apart, try and get this motor out so we can get in and have a look. Alright guys, so that's the exhaust out. So as you can see, it was pretty self-explanatory. We had a hose clamp down here holding a boot. Undone that. Same as up the top, you had the cover boot, pulled that back, and then there was like a rubber sleeve with another two hose clamps. Undo that. That's what was sitting down that joined it up. Then you had the bolts holding the exhaust bracket. Took them off, and then you had two bolts that went into the head setup. Down here you had the temperature sender in this section here, and just had the hoses that were connected to here. That one was from there. We need to disconnect that, and then as you do it, you just kind of get the bottom boot loose. Now as you're pulling it out, you just kind of had to twist it a little bit, and it kind of just pulled out straight out, no worries. So that's the exhaust out, sweet as. Let's continue on. Alright, so the next thing we're going to go and get off is this exhaust box here. There's just a whole heap of bolts in the front, and that should pull out nice and easy, remove. Pretty sweet. We've got a hose here we've got to disconnect, and I believe there's another hose underneath, if I remember right. That's got to disconnect too, but the rest of it should just come off, no dramas at all. So we'll go ahead, start undoing some bolts and see how we go. Alright guys, so that's the exhaust system out of the engine bay now. As you can see, we've got it all down there. Throughout the video we'll be splitting that all up, and we'll probably send it off and get powder coated. I've got to check it out and make sure that that'd be alright to be powder coated, but I reckon that's what we'll end up doing. So stay tuned, be able to make this thing look sweet. As for now, next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, move the airbox out, start looking at getting the carby and inlet out of the way. Alright guys, so once we've got the airbox off and it's just the carby and the block, pretty sure we're good to go. Just pull the cables off the electric start, any other electrical cables, disconnect them, undo the engine mounting bolts. So that's what we're going to do now, go and make some disconnections. Alright, we've also got the coupling cover at the back of the motor. We've got to remove the bolts out of that and take it out also. So when we come to disconnect, we can spread it and pull it up. So now we've just got the 4 engine mounts down the bottom. Right, so we've got all the engine mount bolts out. Now we're just going to get all the electrical stuff on top of the motor nice and tidy so it doesn't get in our way. Might even get some electrical tape and just tie her up so it doesn't drop when we're halfway out. And then we should be good to go. So first thing we've got to do is slide it forward. We can get our inlet now. Alright, so we've just put the motor on its side, and now I can get to the bolts for the inlet. Might go and remove that, and then we can take the carby and the inlet off, and that's just going to make the motor just so it's a block and it's going to be a bit thinner to come straight out the hull. Alright, so this is the inlet valve here, and they're the reed blocks, and you can see between the reeds there's a bit of a gap. There might be a bit of crap in there or something. That might be the reason that we weren't getting compression in the last 2 cylinders. But we'll work that out later. For now, I'm going to get ahead and get this motor out. Alright guys, so we went ahead and got the motor out. It was a little bit more difficult than what I remember last time I did it. Last time I managed to do it with the inlet and carby and everything on there, but this time we pulled all that off. Made it a little bit easier, but it was still a pain in the butt. Tried using the crane, but I just couldn't get the angles and stuff. It ended up easier just grabbing it and yanking it out by hand. Now when you do take it out, just keep an eye out for these things dropping out underneath your engine mounts. You got shims, so when we put the motor back in after, it's got the coupling at the back, and you've got to shim it up so it's all sitting nice and straight, so it's running true. So don't forget them. And if you're like me, you've got butterfingers, you've probably dropped half a dozen screws and washers down. Just be mindful of where they've come from and stuff. Pull them out and put them where they need to go when you get them out. That's it, motor's out, sweet as. Alright guys, so there we go. For this video we're going to finish up. We've got the motor out today. Got everything down on the ground, ready to go. So in the next video we're going to strip this motor down, get it all apart, work out what parts we need. We'll start ordering some parts, get this thing spruced up a little bit and start putting it back together. If you like the content we're putting out here, don't forget to hit that like button, knock that subscribe button, set your notifications for upcoming videos. There's plenty more to come. Stay safe, and we'll catch you next time.